Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Friday, February 21st, the end of the work days for you guys, right? And the last day of the weekend. So, what are we going to be talking about today? I thought we'd talk about what do you do with non paying customers. This should be fun. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday, February 21st of 2025. So, what are we going to be discussing today? Well, if you're a shop owner or in business doing anything, for us, anyways, the biggest thing is non paying customers. And what do I mean by non paying customers? I mean people that bring their stuff in and it's like trying to pull teeth to get paid. And I know we all are dealing with the same thing. And we used to let the units go back to our customers. You know, when we're doing pickup and drop offs, we would just go ahead and drop it off with the bill. And that's great if you have really good customers, which we do for the most part. I'm talking about the select few, and you know who I'm talking about. But it's that select few that you drop the unit off, whether it's a generator, whether it's a riding lawnmower, snowblower, and you have the bill attached to it, and months go by, and all you're hearing is crickets, even unresponses to emails, texts, or phone calls. Uh, just catch up your bill. So we had to change the way we did business quite a few years ago. And that is the unit stays here until it's paid for. And we've had customers that have decided that it's not worth fixing after they told us to go ahead and fix it and then just walk away and leave us with their unit. And that's one of the reasons why, as a shop and a shop owner, when it comes to fixing something, make sure that you're not putting more money and time into it than it is actually worth. Because after so many months of it sitting there, or in our case, years, and it comes time to, you gotta you gotta recoup your money somehow, right? Have Shibi try to recoup it. It comes down to you need to sell that unit because the customer has told you within that 1 or 2 year span that they've kind of moved on, right? So when it comes time to try to peddle that, because that's the only way you're going to recoup any of your money, is it worth what you put into it in time and parts? Even time and parts at a wholesale level. Can you get back to where you're even breaking even? Or is it only good enough to cover just the parts that you put into it? See, that's where you have to be careful. And you have to treat each customer with kid gloves, but selectively. And that is part of your philosophy in your shop has to be, I will never put anything more into that piece of equipment than what I could sell it for instead of what it's worth, of what I could sell it for. That way, if you get into a dilemma of where you need, we need our money, right? We did the work. It's higher than acceptable. It's a great job for a fair price. But that customer no longer wants it. You have to have that, because this is more on the shop owner, because your employees, they're getting paid whether you get paid or not, right? See, it doesn't affect them unless you close the doors and they have to find a new job. But how many hours is on that machine, how much in parts is on that machine. That's your that's in your lap. It's called collecting debts. So one of the things that we do here at our shop is if it's sat here for over a year, I make attempts to contact that customer. If I don't get any responses, I put it up and sell it to the first person that comes along with the cash. Your business relies on people paying on a timely basis. And in all honesty, you shouldn't have to wait a year, but I would at least give it a year. And I know a lot of shop owners that have instituted policies over the years of it's this price when I call you. After a week has passed, it's so much a day for storage fees. And those storage fees can add up in a hurry. So much a day. And now you owe twice what's on your lawnmower had you not just picked it up. So it deters people from putting things off. Oh, I'll pay it next month. Because now you've got 30 days of storage fees tacked on to what it would have cost if you had paid for it within that 7-day window. And that works for some of your customers. It's also a slap in the face to other customers that always pay on time, and they're like it's a threat of some kind. And it's not meant to be that way. So you have to be careful. I mean, post it where everybody can see it. See, your hourly rate should be posted where all your customers can see it. If you're going to charge a storage fee, it needs to be posted so that all your customers can see it when they come into your shop. You know, where they pay their bills and all that. It needs to be displayed that after 7 days, we will start charging X number of dollars to store your unit. So how do you not get into this dilemma? Well, the best way to get into this dilemma is if you can get a good read on the customer to see whether or not they're going to pay in a timely fashion. Now, these last couple of years, I'll be honest with you, has been pretty tough because even my best paying customers are not paying in a timely fashion, and their units have sat here longer than they should. But we don't have a storage fee. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I may get to that point. But I think it's location, location, location. If you're closer to the city and real estate is tight, you can only have just so many units on the property, right? And if you got a bunch of customers that haven't paid you yet and you're storing their equipment, it's hard to bring in other paying customers' equipment into the yard. That I can totally see. Where with me, I've got almost 3 acres here at this property. And then I've got another 3 acres next door. And then I've got close to 450 up the road acres that I can put stuff on. That I can store stuff. So how do we handle it here at the shop? Some of the things that we've changed, that I've changed, is if the customer is unknown, I have them pay for the parts up front. I do. I don't like to do that because I've always had, the way I used to do it was the customer didn't pay anything until the unit was done, was completed, right? But if we do a diagnostic on, let's say, a farm tractor, and the farm tractor is going to need new clutch, pressure plate, throwout bearing, the list goes on, and that's what the customer wants done, you could easily get into $1,000 or more. And if the customer doesn't come back to pick up their unit, how much is the tractor worth with everything fixed on it? And a lot of times we get our best customers, and the bulk of them are customers that it belonged to their father, grandfather, so they have sentimental attachment to it. And that helps get paid quicker in some cases. But if you're an unknown and you bring us a farm tractor, a small one, and it needs a clutch, pressure plate, and all that, after the diagnostic is done, I will come to you on the phone or what have you and explain this is what we found. This is what it's going to need. We would at least like the cost of the parts up front. They're going into your unit. I'm not asking for the labor until the end of the job. But the parts, you need to ante up a certain percentage, if not the full amount. That way, if the customer doesn't come back, I at least have the parts that we bought paid for. And now all I've got against the tractor is labor. And it's easier to get just labor out of a tractor to sell it than it is the parts and labor, because with it being sentimental, the customer has now got it up to a $3,000 bill, and the tractor on a good day wouldn't sell for $2,500. So you as a shop owner get stuck and at a loss, right? You have to be smart. That's what business is all about. And if you're in the service industry, repair service industry, you have to do certain things to cover your bases, because you have payroll to meet, you have all these other bills as a business, lights, mortgage, lease, what have you. And you can't just not pay those, right? So some of the things that you can do is ask for the parts up front. And if you're going to do that, also display that where all customers can see it when they come in. You may be asked to pay for the parts up front before they are installed, before they are ordered. That way I'm not ordering $1,000 in parts and then they change their mind. At least they paid for the parts that I ordered. So on a lot of those customers that are unknown, I will ask for the parts before I even order them. Because I have a credit card that I use, and if I put it on the credit card, I got an interest rate that I got to pay on those cards if it's not paid off in 30 days. Right? You do too. Especially with inflation, right? So that's some of the ways that you can do it. Other ways that you can kind of spur a customer if they haven't paid in a few months. And this is, below the belt, but take and list their item on Facebook. Most of these guys are on Facebook Marketplace looking for the next good deal. And if they see their lawnmower on Facebook, they'll get a hold of you quickly. And they will be irate. Why are you trying to sell my lawnmower on Facebook? It's because you haven't paid your bill, and if you want to pay your bill, I'll take it off Facebook. You never intended to sell it on Facebook. But that's one way to spur some of these guys that bring stuff in that you swear they found on a curb somewhere. And they're living on Marketplace. So that's one little thing you can do to get them to pay. The other place to advertise is Craigslist. I find the old timers are still on Craigslist and the younger ones are on Marketplace. I'm on both. But it's kind of an evil thing to do, but it does spur those customers into coming in and paying their bill and getting their piece of equipment back. Because if it's a lawnmower and it's in the off season, it's going into the fall, and you fixed it and they don't need it till next spring, a lot of times they don't pay for it until next spring. But if you throw it on Facebook or Craigslist, they will be in to pay the bill and get their lawnmower back. because they're going to need it the following spring. But that's just one way you can do it with not having any intent on selling it, but just getting your customer where they're always looking for that next hot deal to get in there and pay their bills so you can get it delivered. So just to kind of wrap this up, if you aren't already doing it, don't drop off a piece of equipment until it's paid. The other thing is accept a lot of different ways to accept payment. A lot of people don't even have checks anymore. They either want to do a credit card, Bureau, PayPal. Those are the top three that I know of, where the customer can easily pay for it. I have a number of customers that I have every year, and they send it directly to my PayPal account from their PayPal account, and that works. I can send them an invoice right through PayPal to their email account, and they can come right over and pay it quick. I haven't gotten into Bureau, but I'm looking into that right now because a lot of young people are using Bureau. And I guess it's a Cash App, Food App, whatever, DoorDash app. But a lot of people are now using that as their main way to pay. So we as businesses have to adapt, and that means we need to be flexible on how to get paid. Credit card, over the phone or in person, that's one of the ways that we've done most of our business. Is a customer can call and give us the credit card number, expiration date, and their zip code. I don't ask them for their security code. I don't need it. And most places shouldn't be asking either because they don't need it. As long as they have the card number, the expiration date, and the zip, most credit card companies will accept that. And the other thing too is if you're accepting credit cards over the phone and you're writing down credit card information, you need to destroy it after you use it. One-time use. Don't leave it laying around on desks, in notebooks, everything else. We have a shredder, a paper shredder, and I have wasted paper that we've had printed off for something else, and I've cut it in half because the back is blank, right? So I use that for the credit card guys that are calling, and I just write it down, run the card through virtual merchant account, and then I shred it. And I've had customers say, well, just use the credit card on file. We don't keep credit cards on file. I don't want the responsibility of somebody getting into our system and having access to that. I want to protect my customer as much as possible. But you got to be willing to be flexible. You need to be able to accept cash is easy, right? But you got to have change, right? Credit cards are pretty common. A lot of shops have gone to, if it's cash, it's this price. If it's credit, it's this price. And the reason they have credit cards at a separate price is because we as merchants, businesses, are being charged by our credit card company, the merchant services, so much per transaction and then a percentage of the sale, which would be on most of mine, I think it's 50 cents or $1 per transaction, and then an additional 3 to 5% of the total bill that credit card company wants for processing that credit card. I know that the customer isn't paying it on their end, but on our end, if your bill is $100, there's $3 of the $100 that's no longer there. On 1,000, there's $30, and it doesn't sound like a super lot, but it adds up by the end of the month if you're accepting so many credit cards. So the next time you walk into a business and it has cash price and credit card price is 3% more, they aren't charging you per transaction. They're just charging you what they're getting charged on top of your bill to do it that way. Some companies build it into the bill, that they just add that 3% as a excise charge or whatever, and it's part of the customer's bill. So make sure that you're flexible on payment options. That way you can get paid quicker. Because I've had a number of customers ask me, do you have the Vero app? Because we can pay you instantly. And that's one thing I'll be looking into here in the next few weeks. Never put into a machine what you can't sell it for. I know you hear me say a lot about never put into a machine more than what it's worth, or what we would put into it. And that's kind of the same philosophy, but what is it worth if you have to sell it? It's got to be close to what is owed against it. Storage fees. Depends on your location. And I know a lot of places have done this to deter late payers, because if you're a late payer, you're going to get hit with storage fees. So it's quicker to get your bill paid versus after the 7 days of having reoccurring fees. All of this has to be displayed so the customer can see it before you do the repairs. If that customer comes in with a unit, it should be displayed where they can easily see it. Shop hours, storage fees, after so many days, the unit will be sold. I've seen a lot of shops doing that. Be selective on your customers. The last thing you want is a stack of papers, invoices that aren't paid. It's not as bad now as what it used to be, because I was taking every Tom, Dick, and Harry as a customer, and I was actually going backwards because I was putting faith into people that shouldn't have had faith in them to start with. They had run out their welcome at the other two shops and left bills, and we got stuck with bills. I've got one right now that the customer has her mower back, and it's $700 and some in parts and labor that we'll never get back. We can say, well, we're not going to touch their equipment from here on out, but you still eat that as a business owner. So we've stopped taking the units back to our customers until it's fully paid for, and try to sell it to recoup at least some of our losses. On the bigger jobs where the parts start adding up, yes, on certain customers, I ask for the parts up front, the price of the parts. That way, if they walk away, at least the parts are paid for, and all I have against it is my labor, the shop rate. Try to incorporate all that into your business model. The little tricks of throwing them on Facebook and Craigslist after a month or two will spur a lot of your customers that are bringing in stuff I swear is off the curb. And for those guys, it doesn't hurt to ask for parts up front. If you don't know them, explain to them that we have it posted. We ask for parts, price of parts up front before we order them. You don't have to tell them that it's already ordered and you've already started the work. Just tell them that you need to pay for the parts up front. So on that note, put in the comments how you do it. What do you think of what we do? I'm curious to hear. Because I know that we all, as business owners, whether you're doing auto repairs, small engine repairs, in any business sector, you're going to have non-paying customers. And how do you deal with them? So on that note, you guys have a good weekend. I'll probably see you here bright and early tomorrow morning with another video. But until then, you guys have a great day.